The year was 835 BC. The sky was still filled with ashes and miasma from two prolonged wars that happened to ended just a few months ago. One of these wars was later known as the brothers' betrayal. The 11-year-old boy wakes up in a covered wagon from a deep sleep after a series of weeping and mourning for having PTSD for his deceased mother and father named Danai Thornfield and Zane Thornfield. The boy tilted his head up, seeing the same odd man with abnormal strength pulling the covered wagon with his old and frail horse. And before the boy could speak to the oddly old muscular man, one of the wagon's wheels ran over a rock, creating a large bump. The sound and vibration of the bump made the boy stare into space, while his boy is nearly off the ground from the wagon lifting him up because of the bump, leaving him suspended in the air for just milliseconds. Although those milliseconds felt like elongating minutes of a nightmare playing over and over in his head, the flashback of the death of his parents. He sees himself waking up from a soaring sound, like a shooting star soaring in space with lightning and thunder following after. He immediately went to check the sounds that startled him out of his slumber. He rushed outside to see, then looked up in the air to see where the impacts were coming from. The boy saw his dream come true, but also in complete disarray, giving himself a bruise on his elbow from tripping, trying to keep watch of what he's looking at. His father, being startled by the same impact, woke up Danai, then rushed to his son's room. He started yelling his son's name throughout the house. Repeatedly, but no answer. He later decided to check outside, and there he was. The father was furious, but also grateful that nothing happened to his son. "Cornell, are you all right, my boy?" Zane said, walking steadily closer to his son. "Father?" said Cornell. "Yes, my son," Zane replied. He looked just like said he would from the stories I heard. Then Cornell pointed up, and Zane looked. Zane, rendered speechless with fear and excitement. The sky, engulfed in lightning. Zane sees a crisp, detailed face with eyes of a lightning storm. It had immediately clicked to him that this was the god of all gods, Zeus. However, there was another flying figure amongst them. It looked similar to the war stories always heard. Then he stumbled on the ground, still looking at the sky, knowing something bad was about to happen. The figure was no other than the killer of kings, the slayer of the demon king, Tenebrae Lucent, Darkness Shines, son of Cronus and Rhea, the god of ascendancy, but now known as the conqueror god. Zane and Cornell, seeing Zeus, then forms into his physical body and now stares a dagger of envy and hatred to his brother that is now seen as forbidden to even talk about him, or even his name. The intensity of the face-off came to an end when Tenebrae unclutched his fist, and then his aura gradually expanded and intensified. Then all of a sudden there was an earthquake, mountains and cliffs shaking off loose rocks, now tumbling on the ground. Cornell's mother ran outside in fear. Before she could comprehend what's happening, medium and small rocks poured down her, hitting every part of her body. She was knocked unconscious, making her upper body fall inside the house. Zane sees bigger rocks falling down. He quickly ran to save his wife. His speed feels like it's getting slower while the rock's speeding up to the rooftop of the house. The first rock, smashing through the roof with ease. The second rock, hitting the roof and making the stability of the house weaker. The third rock hit when Zane was pulling Danai's legs, but with no upper body. The near volcano erupted, spitting out glumps of lava. Zane sees this also with a quick reaction and knows that it's aimed at his son. He then busts out, running nearly the same speed as an Olympic runner to save his son. Zane nearly didn't make it, pushing his son to sacrifice himself. Connell now sees father rolling around engulfed in never-ending flames, roasting his body to ashes. Cornell could do nothing but cry, while his heart skips beats, making him have trouble with his breathing. After a while, Cornell lays on his back, looking at what used to be his parents, looking like a lost soul. Then a strange old man came to him and said, "Give me your hand, and I'll show you the way." As soon as their hands touched, bang! The boy bumped his head on the wagon bed. His head starts pounding and ringing with brain damage. To be continued.